Hello everyone, it's Andrew Hutchings here, and I am still not a licensed physician, and none of this is medical advice. It's just educational. It's my opinion based on facts. This video is about how something that is often overlooked about scientific studies and just things in general when you're reading about how a drug affects people or something causes cancer. Long story short, most scientific studies are done on essentially genetically identical test subjects. The mice used in scientific studies are essentially genetically identical to each other. Now, there are a couple different kinds of mice, but each one of those kinds are genetically identical to each other. And even if you were to use 3 different kinds of mice in a study, still, it's not quite like real life with humans, since humans are very, very different from each other, not a homogeneous test group. Also, these mice, because they are so inbred and genetically identical, develop cancer very quickly, and their bodies don't react like normal mice or normal living organisms. They're really not great test subjects. Also, oftentimes scientific studies are done on cell cultures. Human cells, you'd think, oh, human cells, they're going to behave just like a human would. Like, oh, that's going to be like your liver tissue or your heart tissue or whatever. Those cell cultures are usually basically cancer cells that don't react like normal human cells. And again, they're genetically identical usually. Now, there are many different human cell lines that can be picked from. But yeah, they're not like normal cells. And they will also, they just don't react like normal cells. Like, they do react like normal cells, but they don't. So yes, they can be good, but they're not perfect. Like, it's better than not doing any test at all, but to get results in like a human cancer cell hybrid culture and then go, oh, well, it does this in humans. No, it doesn't. On top of the cells themselves not being like normal human cells, individual cells are much different than cells in an organism. Because in an organism, they're part of a whole. It's like saying, oh yeah, I can just light a pipe bomb 5 feet from me and it doesn't matter because it's safe for me. Well, if you're in a crowd of people, it's a little bit different because it's going to damage one of them or kill one of them. Just like in your body, if you take a single cell out or a few of them out, do something to them, maybe it's fine. But when you do that something to the cells and it's in your organism, well, there's a good chance it's going to affect something else. Also, like I mentioned with those mice that get cancer really quickly, they test medications on mice and they go, oh, it gave them cancer. Well, yeah, these mice get cancer, like, usually. So why are we doing cancer studies on mice that pretty much always get cancer? Also, their lifespans are pretty short because, again, they're inbred. So yes, keep this in mind when you read scientific studies and it seems like it should do something to a human, because it might, but it probably is a lot different than it is in the study. I know when I was younger, like 14, 15 years old, and I was in my beginning stages of reading scientific studies, I would even read in vitro things, which means it's not even in an organism. Like, it's just it's not in a living organism. You're doing a study, maybe you have okay, I figured out how to explain it. So you've got like some proteins or some enzymes that would be normally present in your human body, but you take them out and you test how well a molecule binds to them. And I would think when I was younger, whoa, that's really cool, it's gonna bind really well. It's like, nope, doesn't work like that in real life. Just because it binds to that enzyme when there's nothing else around, and in whatever conditions, whatever acidity, whatever solvent they choose, which should be water because the human body's water-based, but it's not at all like the actual human body. Because when it's in the human body, the pH might be different. You're going to have other molecules floating around. It might not bind at all. You're going to have other enzymes that might degrade the drug. So just because a drug binds to an enzyme in an in vitro study, it might not bind at all in an actual human body. It might be degraded way long before it ever gets to that enzyme. There might be other molecules that bind to it instead. The pH may protonate it or deprotonate it or something, and then it doesn't have the same binding. Or maybe even when it's protonated versus deprotonated, it does a structural change of it. Who knows? Because it's not in the actual human body, and the human body is a lot more complicated than having an isolated protein in a test tube and testing how well a molecule binds to it. It just doesn't translate. Like, it's better than doing nothing, because you know that if the conditions happen to be exactly like in the test tube, which they're probably not going to be, but if they are very close to that test tube condition, then perhaps maybe it will actually bind. It's a good first step, but it's certainly not a, oh, it did this, it's going to do that in real life. No, it's not. I mean, maybe it will, but probably not. So I hope you like this video. I hope it sheds some light on things, because even when I went to university for a degree in biochemistry, maybe someone touched on this. I mean, someone did touch on the mice part one time, and maybe somebody touched on the in vitro stuff. I think someone casually said something about it one time. But you could basically go through an entire university course, whole 4 or 5 years of study, and not realize this stuff, because they just don't talk about it enough. Just like they don't talk about enough that, oh, we tested a drug and it only binds to X. It's like, but did you test A, B, C, D, E, F, G? No, you didn't even test them, so why are you saying it only binds to X? Sorry for the washing machine, but I'm not a filthy animal. I have to wash my clothes. So I hope you like this video. You can hire me for consultations on my website, andrewhutchings.org. You can check out my Instagram, natural_true_fitness. And my book on tendinitis will come, I mean, I've been saying very soon for quite a while, but now it's really very soon. I am going to add in a couple more references, but the main thing is I gotta find a place that will publish it with my custom book cover. Do you want to see my custom book cover? Well, hold on 30 seconds. I know, but the way it was, you couldn't see you until you moved, then you could see you a little bit.
I went moving on.
I know, but as long as you stayed there, you couldn't see. And the video is still recording, so I'm going to show my book cover. Hold on a few more seconds. Actually, probably going to be 20 seconds because my computer's been doing this weird turning off thing. And now it's going to go through some stuff as it turns back on, because that's what computers do. And let me see which one was my newest one. I'll just pull open this one. They're pretty much all the same, but little differences. This is my book cover. Now you've seen it. So remember, consultations on my website, or you can just contact me on Instagram and we can just schedule them ourselves. But if you want to use my website, which I need to also finish as soon as I publish my book, you can use my website. It says free, but they're not free. They're $100 an hour on my website. For a limited time only, I'll give them to you for $50 an hour. My time is filling up. I thought I have plenty of free time, but actually, there's a lot of stuff to do in my time. So very soon, they're going to go back to $100 an hour.